Hi, I'm Jennifer Hancock. I am a humanist and I like to watch movies, lots of them. Mostly interested in Indian movies right now. I grew up in Los Angeles, movie capital of America, so movies are my thing. And this movie is Kung Fu Yoga. It comes out soon. And it stars obviously Jackie Chan. Yay, Jackie Chan. I love Jackie Chan's movies. He is awesome. I love the humor with which he brings his action sequences, and I love his athleticism. He's just a joy to watch. Now, this is also an Indian movie and stars Sonu Sood, who is wonderful. I'm a huge Sonu Sood fan. And he is super, super handsome. And I know my friend Jai is going to disagree with me on this, but I think Sonu Sood is more handsome than Hrithik. Yes, Hrithik is a better dancer, and Hrithik is amazingly handsome, but Sonu Sood is my man. So, let's watch this video, the trailer, and then we'll talk about the humanist, the humanist content in it. Like, how do we feel about what the story is actually about?
When a treasure disappears, there's only one man.
You're China's greatest archaeologist.
And one woman.
Welcome to India, Jack.
And one other man.
160 million!
For the job.
This is beyond my imagination. Xiaohong, come down and get us out.
Humans like you, both archaeologists. I'm a treasure hunter.
This is thief of national treasure. It's against the law.
That's the only chance to prove your father gave his life for something more than just a legend.
This treasure belongs to me.
My 160 million!
Camel races! Camel races!
He has the power to transform all of you. This is a treasure.
Kung Fu Yoga.
Little Jackie! Little Jackie!
Okay. So excited about this. It's one of those things like, obviously Sonu is the bad guy. He's the rich bad guy trying to get whatever the artifact it is for himself. I love these sorts of movies. These like kind of Indiana Jones archaeologists looking for things. I love this. I think my son is absolutely going to love this movie. I love the Jackie Chan dance sequences. Love them. I can hardly wait to see that. That is going to be so awesome. The sequences of the lion in the car are like, oh my goodness. Okay. So humanism, is there any in this movie? Okay, so with archaeology, ancient treasures, obviously these are supernatural ancient treasures that they're going after. And that's kind of cool. There is no it's fantasy, right? That's part of the story. That's kind of awesome. With archaeology in particular, I mean, there's this... archaeology has always had kind of a mixed history. Now, I live in Florida. I live in an area that was where they think Hernando de Soto landed. There was a major Indian community, like a city here, We have mounds everywhere. Every spit of land we have has Indian mounds on them, and some of them aren't there anymore because the local archaeologist, a man named Talent, went and he was a grave robber. He would go in and he would grab things out and he would give them to the Smithsonian, you know. His stuff is in museums. But let's not kid ourselves. They were raiding burial mounds. They were desecrating graves. You know, and nowadays we look at that, you know, and it's horrifying, right? You know, when I say we had this really big mound on the major road going out to the beach, but it's not there anymore because they took the mound and used it to build the road, people are horrified. But that's what people did. There's a mound north of here, 3 hours north of here, that's half missing because they used it to fill in an area and make a mobile home park. And nowadays we're horrified by this, but that is the history of archaeology, right? They were grave robbers. They weren't doing archaeology the way we do it now. Which hopefully is better and more scientifically sound. But at the end of the day, you're almost always you're desecrating grave sites. Now, nowadays we don't do that unless you have to get permission and things like that. So it's an interesting, to me, the storyline is kind of interesting because it's a for-profit digging up of an artifact versus a non-profit digging up of an artifact for the public good. And that's an interesting, debatable. I'm obviously pro-archaeology. I love archaeology. I think it's helped us learn who we are as humans, and going back even farther, helping us to understand the civilizations that came before us were not backward people. They were fully human as we are. It gives us a much more interesting and complex story of who we are. That it's not necessarily as clean cut as our history books would let us know. That history was messy, and there were power struggles in ancient history, just as there are power struggles now. Because a lot of these stories usually involve some sort of weapon, and you know, if it's Raiders of the Lost Ark, it's the Ark of the Covenant as weapon, and this looks kind of has similar overtones to Raiders of the Lost Ark in terms of there's another trailer that has like a staff with a light going through it. This very Raiders of the Lost Ark. So I'm excited about this. I love movies that are about archaeology and kind of pit good archaeologists against bad ones, because I think it lets us have this conversation that we need to have about if we're going to dig up history, and by definition, by digging it up, you're removing it and destroying it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's any modern touching of it is going to destroy our ancient history. On the other hand, if we don't do that, how do we learn about ancient history? And it's a dilemma, right? And it's both sides have valid points on this. And I think movies like this, where we are asked in fun to contemplate the good and the bad of archaeology, are really helpful to us to have a sense of what is that line that we don't want to cross when it comes to archaeology, right? The Chinese have been digging up, the terracotta warriors, but by doing so, they destroy them. So there's how much they really want to dig up, and that's an active debate that they have. You know, when I was there and saw them, they said, we only want to dig this much up, not just because of the booby traps, but because we don't have the tools in the archaeology to do a good job of it, and we want to wait until we have better tools. That's a really great reason to delay digging up history. One of the local sites in my area is an Ice Age site. We know there were people inhabiting this area during the Ice Age. We have mounds underwater, where the old shoreline used to be during the Ice Age, right? And, the local decision was made, the recent local decision was made to not disturb the property and actually to let the vegetation grow up so that these Ice Age sites would be preserved, and the 2,500-year-old sites would be preserved, and the bodies that may or may not be in these sites will be untouched, right? And that contrasts with what happened 100 years ago here, where they were digging up these mounds to make roads, right? Some of them. Some of the mounds weren't touched at all because the people who owned the property the mounds were on didn't like the archaeologist and didn't like how he worked, and so didn't give him access to their mound. And so that's why we have a lot of mounds that are in good shape and haven't been touched by archaeologists because the people who own the land didn't want them touched. So this is, to me, as a humanist and a person of science and a person who likes science, a really you can tell I really like this subject. It's a really interesting subject, and I think it's a hugely important subject that we take seriously. Will this movie take it seriously? No, this movie's an entertainer. I'm totally looking forward to it. It's gonna be great. But there you go. There's the two sides of me. The entertainment side, I love my Jackie Chan and Sonu Sood and my supernatural archaeologist movies. And I'm also a humanist thinking about real issues in science. So let me know what you think. Are you excited about this movie? How do you feel about archaeology? See you later.